Very good morning to one and all dear students. Did you all receive your marks for assessment 2? Are you happy with your marks? Okay, can you tell me how many of you have written the exam with your full heart and soul? I mean, without copying, maybe from the notebook or from even from the net, because you are grown up, right? Yes? Okay. But majority of the students have done really good. I really appreciate their effort. Okay, it was good. And those who have scored good marks, it's a fruit of your hard work. And those who have scored less marks, that means you have to put extra efforts in your studies. You do not try to copy anywhere. You just try to write it by yourself. Okay. Well, students, now let's go to the chapter. We are studying about Unit 3 ICT skills. Last week we started this chapter. Do you know the full form of ICT? Yes, who knows the answer? Yes, ICT means Information and Communication Technology. As I said, communication means sharing information. So we can verbally share information and also non-verbally we can share information, right? Okay. But if it is using a technology, how do we share information and how do we communicate with one another? That is what we are studying in this chapter. Related to this, the very first technology we studied about smartphones and tablets. Okay. What are the uses of smartphone and what are the uses of tablet phones? Okay. So also we studied about the difference between smartphone and tablets. We studied the default apps which are in smartphone, the operating systems which are used in smartphone. Many things we have covered. Do you remember all these things? That's good. Okay. Today we are going to study about the next technology that is called computer. Okay, we are going to study about parts of a computer and computer peripherals. I think it's an easy topic for you because you're from standard 5, you are just studying the same thing again and again, so it will be definitely easy for you. Okay, fine students. Now you can see I have drawn a desktop computer and a laptop. Yes. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is a computer, it's a programmable machine, okay, which receives input, processes the informations and delivers the output according to our need. Whatever request we are just for feeding into the computer, according to the request, the process will happen and we will receive the result as an output, right? Okay. And for receiving information and processing and delivering the output, what are the devices are used? That's good. You can see keyboard, mouse, and CPU. These are the devices used for input, processing, and output, right? And if you see in a desktop computers, these devices are connected separately. Okay, they are separate devices and they have a connection to one another, right? And what is the difference in a laptop? Laptop also a computer, portable computer, which also does the same job of receiving input, processing the information in instructions and provides the result. But here, the keyboard, mouse, CPU, everything, it's clubbed together as a one device. It's called laptop. They are molded into a one device. Got it? So that is the difference between this desktop computer and a laptop. Laptop, it's a portable computer you can carry wherever you go. Okay? All right. So here, keyboard is there, mouse is there, monitor is there, CPU is there. All have a connection. So how does the connection happens? The connection happens with the help of cables. Okay. So one end of the cable, it's with the keyboard. One end of the cable, the monitor has a cable, has one end connected to it, and the mouse has a cable. One end of the cable is connected to the mouse. Where does the remaining ends of these three devices are going on? Of course, they are going into CPU. They are getting inside into CPU. and the place where we connect these cables are called ports. They are called as ports, and we can also call it as slots. We can also call it as slots. Okay, so the devices, input devices like a keyboard, then monitor, mouse, everything, it's connected with the help of cable. The cables are connected to the ports in the CPU, central processing unit. Is it clear? Okay, so this is a CPU. So this CPU, it's, you know that it's again divided into three parts. So do you know what are the three parts? Yes, control unit, we call it as CU, then arithmetic and logical unit, then memory unit. So the three parts of CPU are control unit, then second one, it's arithmetic and logic unit, we call it as ALU, third one, memory unit. So these are the three parts of a central processing unit. Control unit means control. From the word you can just imagine what is a part of this control unit, which acts like a manager, which controls everything. Okay. Then ALU, arithmetic and logical unit, which performs all the arithmetic and the logical calculations. All type of arithmetic and logical calculations which are performed by this arithmetic and logic unit. Okay, then third one, memory unit. So memory means storage. So we have a temporary storage unit as well as the permanent storage like a RAM and ROM. Okay, so these are the three parts of central processing unit. So you know all these things, right? Well, now let's talk about input devices. Okay, so the computer, it's made up of input, processing and output. Is it clear for everyone? Good. So now these input and output devices, we can call it as peripherals. How do we call it as peripherals? We can also call it as peripherals. Okay. So let's see some of the input devices. Let's talk about input devices. Okay. So when I say input devices, first you should know what is the purpose of input device. So we are using input device. The users are feeding informations into the computer with the help of input device. Okay. So what is the purpose of input device? To feed information into the computer. Okay. So to feed information into computer. Computer, we are using input devices. And if it's an output device, so we are feeding information which is getting processed, and after processing, the result it's displayed on the monitor to the user, from the computer to the user. Okay. So what is the purpose of this output device? To display or to provide the result information to the user. Okay, the computer, the computer provides the results to the user. So clear? So input device, the user is feeding information to the computer. Output device, the computer is providing information to the users. So it's opposite. So clear? Okay, now let's see some of the input and output devices, or how can we call it as input and output devices as peripherals. We can also call it as peripherals. Input and output devices are also called as peripherals. Clear? Okay, let's see some of the input devices. So when I say input device, maybe from standard 1 you are studying about this. Which device come to your mind? Of course, it's a keyboard, right? So the very first thing, it's a keyboard to feed information. So what type of information we feed it through keyboard? Numbers, alphabets, and some function keys are there, shortcut keys, everything we use. So to feed numbers, alphabets, functions, keys, and everything, we are using keyboard. So keyboard is one of the input device. Then you can say mouse. So for selecting items, clicking on it. So we use mouse. Okay, do you know any other input device? That's good. Microphone. So microphone, you can just talk through microphone. Okay, even in your phone, there is no need to keep your phone on your ears. Just you can connect a microphone in the phone, mobile phone, smartphones, and you can just talk through microphones. Okay, so these are the input devices. So whatever that I said, let me write it here. So first I said about keyboard to write numbers, letters, function keys. Okay, we are using keyboard. Second is mouse to click. It may be a single click or double click, click and drag, selecting anything. Okay. Then third thing I said about microphones to talk. Microphones to talk. Okay. Do you know any other devices? Input devices I'm talking about? Yes, camera. Camera, it's to take videos. Camera, it's to take videos and photos. Fourth one, camera to take videos and photos. Do you know any other input device? You can list out as you like, okay? So you can even say the barcode reader, which reads the codes and converts into the digital format, right? So that is also an input device. So there are n number of input devices which comes inbuilt with a computer, or it may be a separate peripheral. We can attach it with the computer. Is it clear for everyone? So that is all about input device. So it is a device. It is helps us to feed information into the computer. And some of the examples: keyboard, mouse, microphone, camera. What are the devices and what are their purpose? That also you should write. Okay. Then next one, output device. As I said, output means we are feeding information to the computer, which processes and provides the useful information as a form of output result. So that we can see through the output devices. So computer is providing information to the user. Okay. So the very first output device everyone knows is a monitor. It's called monitor. So monitor to see the results on a computer. Okay. So very first one is monitor. Then what is the second one? See, to talk, we are using microphones here. Then in output, to listen, which device will be useful? That's good. Speakers. Speakers are useful to listen. If you want to listen to a music, you can play through the speaker. And not only you, everyone in the house can listen to the music. Right? Okay, then anything else? Yes, what else you can say? Printer. The very important thing is printer. Printer is to take a output, right? So you may have done some work on a computer. You may need a hard copy. So who is providing the hard copy to you? The printer. Using printer, you can take a hard copy of any document. Okay. So third one is printer. To take hard copy. So likewise, there are many output devices or output peripherals are there, and as like a input device, they are inbuilt. Some of them may be inbuilt with the computer, or they will be a separate devices, and we have to connect it to the computer. So clear? So these are all about the input and output devices. And scanner also we can just talk about input device. When we talk about input device, we can also include scanner. Okay, we can also include scanner. So what is the purpose of scanner? The scanner takes the copy of the document, paper document, whatever we have, okay, and which scans and convert it into a digital format. Paper document into a digital format. For example, if you are applying for any job, Okay, or if you are applying for any college or anywhere else, what you can do is you can just get the application form, take a printout, means hard copy, then fill in the application form with your own handwriting. You can scan it and send it to the college instead of sending through the post or going to the place directly and giving. Clear? So that is the purpose of scanner. Scanner to it converts scanner, it converts paper document into digital format. So clear? So these are the some of the common input and output peripherals. Clear, students? Okay. So we talked about input device and output device. So what is there next? That's good, students. Next, we are going to talk about central processing unit. Next is the central processing unit, CPU. So, as the name suggests, central, which does the central processing of all the information the computer receives. Okay, so that's the reason it's called central processing unit. And this central processing unit, it's further divided into three. It is further divided into three. Okay, so what are they? As you know, the first one is control unit. You can call it as CU. So as a name suggests, it controls everything in the computer. So you can call it as a supervisor or you can call it as a manager of the computer system or anything as you like. Okay. So all the work, everything, whatever input is received by the computer, everything reaches this control unit. Okay. And after processing the results, everything comes here, and from here only which goes to output device, which will take a copy of everything. Okay, so that is a control unit. Then second one is arithmetic and logic unit. Second one is ALU, arithmetic and logic unit. Okay, still I have seen students will make mistake in the letter in the word arithmetic. So can you just spell the word arithmetic? Arithmetic, ARITH. METIC, arithmetic. METIC, arithmetic. It is METIC, okay? Arithmetic and logic unit. So, arithmetic means normal arithmetic calculations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So, normal arithmetic operations as well as logical operations. Everything is performed with the help of this ALU, which is inside the CPU. So, clear? Okay. Then what is the third unit? Yes, which is called storage unit. Which is called storage unit. Or we can call it as memory unit. We can call it as memory unit or MU. Okay. So storage or memory both has the same meaning. So whatever work we do with the computer, sometimes we may save it or sometimes we may not save it. So the data what we are doing it's maybe saved temporarily or sometimes it may be saved permanently. So for that the storage device is helpful. It is used to store data. And as you know, this storage device, it's further divided into two types. Okay, so one is RAM, another one is ROM. So who know the full form of RAM and ROM? What is the full form of RAM? Random access memory, which is called random access memory. Then what is ROM? Read only memory. ROM it's called read only memory. And now let's see the difference between RAM and ROM. It's RAM, it's a temporary memory, but ROM is a permanent memory. Okay. See this ROM, actually the ROM contains information which are required to start up the computer. I mean boot up the computer. Okay. So when you switch on the computer, you might have seen a black screen coming with a lot of Windows informations, right? So they are the instructions for the operating system. How does this particular computer has to work? So how does a computer should work? All those informations about this operating systems are stored in ROM. Okay. So is it possible for you to change the information that's working behavior of the computer? Is it possible? No, right? Yes. So that is the reason it is read-only memory. We cannot make any changes into ROM. We cannot make any changes into this ROM, read-only memory. We can only read. They are the instructions for the computer to work, especially for the operating system. Clear? And the instructions are written at the time of manufacturing. That is the reason we can't do anything. Once the ROM is designed, that's all. We can just fix it in the computer and work it. Okay, we cannot make any changes into it. But the opposite is RAM, random access memory. Random access memory. So do you know what is meant by random access? As I said, it's a temporary memory and this is a permanent memory. Here, the data loss can happen. If you're not saving and if the power goes off or the system shut down, then you cannot retrieve the data back. But here, it's permanent memory, so all the instructions are saved permanently. You may switch on the computer for 100 times or 200 times every day. Each and every time when you boot up the computer, you can see those instructions coming in front of you, right? Even the power goes off, that doesn't matter. Whatever happens, the operating system instructions that will be stored in the ROM. Okay, and but in RAM it's a temporary memory. So if you are not saving your work and if the power goes off while doing some particular work, then the data is lost, you cannot get it back. That is called it as volatile memory. We call it as volatile and this is non-volatile. Clear? So these are the difference between RAM and ROM. Okay, and what about secondary memory? So we are talking about memory, right? Storage unit, memory unit. Okay, so primary, secondary, we are talking about these are primary storage units. Then there are secondary storage devices. So do you know what are they? First let me know what is meant by secondary storage. Yes, to store large amount of data in a permanent basis, we go for a secondary memory. It may be a pen drive, okay, or you can call it as a flash memory, okay, or a CD, DVD, hard disk, external hard disk. It can be anything. So why we go for it? If you have a desktop computers and if you have done some important work, you cannot carry your desktop computer wherever you go. So what you can do? You can copy it in your pen drive. You can carry the pen drive wherever you go and access the same data what you have done in your desktop computer. Clear? Okay, so for that purpose, we are using secondary storage. Secondary storage is to store data in a permanent basis and large amount of data we can store it. Okay, and you should have an external hard disk. Okay, because you have a hard disk in your computer already, right? So that's a primary one. And every once in 6 months, you have to take a backup of all your works in the secondary hard disk. If you do so, if in case if there is any problem occurs for your computer, if it doesn't work all in a sudden, no need to worry about it because you have a backup in the secondary hard disk, right? So you can fix that hard disk in any other computer and you can retrieve your data back. So that is the purpose of this hard disk. And CDs, compact disk, right? So in compact disk, which has some storage capacity, each and every secondary storage device has its own capacity. Okay, so if it's a CD, you can save up to 700 MB, and if it's a DVD, you can save up to 4 GB or something, 4 to 16 GBs. So the capacity differs from each device to another. Okay, apart from that, the functionality it's going to be the same. Is it clear, students? That's good. We are studying about the storage devices, right? Primary and secondary. Primary consists of RAM and ROM. Let me write it here. Primary memory. You can call it as a RAM or ROM. Okay, so you can say primary memory or primary storage. Okay, which are of two types, RAM and ROM. So we studied about the difference between RAM and ROM, right? Then secondary storage. which has many types. Okay, so very few I have listed out: CD, DVD, then flash drive, I mean pen drive. Okay, so which goes on. Many are there. Hard disk, and we discussed about each and everything. So secondary storage, it's for large amounts, to store large amount of data in a permanent basis. Okay, fine. Now we are talking about memory, storage, and everything, right? But can you tell me, when we feed information into the computer, how does it gets converted into? Have you heard about the capacity of a pen drive or a hard disk or a computer or anything, or even your smartphone, right? So it's a 2 GB, 4 GB, 16 GB, 64 GB likewise, right? So what are they? What is 2 GB? What is 4 GB, 16 MB? Something they are talking about, right? So they are called memory units. They are called memory units. We are going to talk about memory units now. See, whenever you buy particular item, maybe it's a milk or you may go and buy vegetables or whatsoever, everything has a measurement, right? So if it's a liquid items, we call it as liters. The measurement we say liter, 1 liter oil, 1 liter petrol, 1 liter milk or something. And if it's a solid item, we say kilogram. We say kilogram. And if it's a distance, we say meter or kilometer. So each and everything has a measurement. Similarly, the computer's memory also has a measurement, okay, which are measured with the help of bits and bytes. So the very smallest unit, so storage unit, it's called bit. It is called bit. So do you know what is 1 bit is equal to? That's good. Zeros and ones. 0 and 1. 0 and 1, it's called bit, which is the smallest unit in the computer's memory, which is the smallest unit in the computer memory, which is the smallest unit. So similarly, if 8 bits together, we call it as byte. If 8 bits join together, we call it as 1 byte. So we need a byte to represent any number or a letter or anything. Okay, so character means it may be a letter or a number. Okay, so we need 1 byte to represent a character. Okay, to represent a character. Okay, then so 1 bit means 0 and 1. 8 bits together, we call it as a byte. Then here comes the count. This is you have already studied in your lower classes. 1024 bits is equal to, who knows the answer? Yes, it's 1 megabyte. 1 megabyte. Then 1024 megabytes is equal to 1 gigabyte. Then 1024 gigabytes is equal to 1 terabyte. Then 1024 terabyte is equal to 1 petabyte. Likewise, which goes on. Okay, so this is the memory unit in computer. So clear? That's good, students. Okay, so what are the things we have covered now? We talked about computer, a desktop computer and a laptop computer, right? The input device, input, processing and output. Then we studied about what are the input devices and output devices. Then we studied about central processing unit and what are the 3 categories of central processing unit and their functions. Then in detail, we discussed about the storage unit. Okay, the storage unit or memory unit consists of 2, divided into 2 categories. One is primary storage and secondary storage. We studied the difference between RAM and ROM, and we studied about the secondary storage devices. Then we talked about memory unit. Okay, students, we are talking about all the devices. As I said, some devices are built in with the computer and some devices we have to connect it to the computer. We have to connect it, right? So how do we connect? How do we connect? Yes, as I said, we use cables to connect the devices together. We use cables. So how the cables are connected together? They are connected at the back of CPU, right? So if you look at the back of CPU, you can see different formats of slots. Slots or channels, we can call it as. So where you plug in the cables, okay, they are called slots or channels. We can also call it as ports, ports. We can also call it as ports. Okay, so that is what we are going to study now. So let's talk about ports. As I said, we can call it as a ports or slots or channels. So don't get confused with these words. All has the same meaning. Okay. So as I said, we connect keyboards, mouse. Okay. Then we connect the cable from the monitor to the CPU, and we do have a speaker. We use a speaker. We have a microphone, and we connect our smartphones to the computer to transfer data or sometimes to access the internet, right? So how they are connected? As I said, they are connected with the help of ports. If you look at the back of CPU, you can see different types of slots. Do you know why? Okay, let's see with an example. See, I have a keyboard over here. It's an old pattern keyboard, okay? So the keyboard which has a cable, as I said, one end of the cable is connected to the keyboard and another end, okay? So another end, look at the another end. How does it looks like? See, how does it looks like? You have to see the end part of this cable. So how to connect this particular slot, how to connect it with a particular slot, okay? So the pattern of this cable, it's different. And if you take a mouse and its slot, see, mouse as a cable, and you can see how does it this one looks like. Okay, so this is different. And if you take a speaker phone and its cables are different, microphone, you can see this is a place where we plug in. So you can see how small it is and how does it looks like, right? And if you take a data cable, so you can see one end to the mobile phone, another end to the computer, right? So there are different types of cables. Okay? There are different types of cables. Similarly, there are different types of ports to connect it. There are different types of ports to connect it. That's what we are going to study now. That we will see from your textbook. Okay. Well, students, we are talking about ports and connections. So, as I said, there are different types of cables. Keyboard has a different cable, microphone has a different cable, mouse, everything has a different cable. Even monitor, the power cable, it's a different. So, according to the cables, there are different types of ports are there in the computer. So, we are studying about the ports of the computer. The very first type of port, it's called USB. So do you know what is the full form of USB? Yes, it's Universal Serial Bus Port. Okay. So using this port, you can connect your keyboard, mouse, and everything. Okay. Then second one, it's called display port. So look at the mouse pointer. These two are called display port. Okay. Example VGA, video graphics adapter, HDMI, high definition multimedia interface. These are the display ports. Okay. Then third type of ports are called audio ports. So to listen to the music or to talk, to connect the microphones, speakers, and everything, we are using this audio ports are of two type: microphone port and line out. These are the audio ports. Okay. The next one, it's called Ethernet port. To connect it to the high speed internet, we have to connect the Ethernet cable. So for that, Ethernet port. Then power port. To connect the power cords or power cables, we use the power port. Is it clear for everyone? That's good, students. These are the types of ports. So can you repeat me what are the types of ports? The first one is USB ports. The second one, yes, display ports are of two types. What are they? VGA, HDMI. Then audio ports, then Ethernet port and power port. So these are the types of ports you should study. Got it? Good. Let's move on to next session.